the Monday, January 23rd, 2017 meeting of the Centerville Board of Education to order.
Mr. Evers?
Yes, here.
Dr. Rower? Annie Self?
Here.
Mr. Schroyer?
Here.
And Mrs. Osterhage.
Here, if we could all please stand to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Biederman?
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schroyer?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage.
Yes. Dr. Henderson, if you would please address the board with School Board Recognition Month.
Good evening again, and thank you, Mrs. Osterhage. January is School Board Recognition Month, and I had the opportunity last Wednesday and kind of a State of the District address to share with the community that was in attendance that we are an excellent school district here in Centerville City Schools, but I did say that the excellence begins at the top, and we have an outstanding Board of Education. And so tonight, on behalf of the staff and students of the Centerville City Schools, I'd like to thank our 5 elected officials for their dedication to our school district. You know, the time that they spend in these public board meetings really just represents a small fraction of the hours that each one of these, our school board members, devote to leading our district. In all cases, there are extra work sessions throughout the month. Board members are always on call to answer questions from parents and community members. And again, we are extremely fortunate to have such a devoted, experienced Board of Education who always keep their eyes on the prize of student achievement. So I'd just like to acknowledge that our current president this year for 2017 is Mrs. Clara Osterhage. She's been on the board since 2014. Dr. David Rohr has been on the board since 1994. He's the vice president. He was unable to be here tonight. Mr. Brad Evers, a longtime board member since 1996. Mr. Jeff Schroyer since 2008. And Mrs. Annie Self since 2016. So again, to all of our Board of Education, in appreciation of your time, dedication, and efforts, the Ohio School Board has provided personalized certificates, and we have provided a small token of our thanks from the staff and students of Centerville City Schools where you're seated tonight. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. Thank you. We're going to move on to the other honors portion of our agenda tonight. I'd like to invite Mr. Bob Yucks, Assistant Superintendent, to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Henderson. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing 3 members of the Centerville Education Foundation as they will be presenting 24 classroom project teacher grants tonight. Over the many years that I've been attending school board meetings, I've had the honor of watching as teachers year after year are honored in this fashion for the work that they do every day with our kids and the enthusiasm that they show through the many projects that they've proposed to the foundation. In addition to sponsoring these classroom projects, they also sponsor an annual Hall of Fame banquet. They recognize staff members from every school building, as well as community members and alumni who have supported our school district. So it has truly been a very, very valuable experience for us and a relationship that we cherish that we've had with the Centerville Education Foundation. Tonight, they have 3 officers present that will make the presentations to our teachers: Kate Hill, Jen Lokai, and Dave Durrell. Welcome. Thank you.
Down again. Good evening. The Centerville Education Foundation is always happy at this time of the year to give checks to those people, all the teachers who created and submitted the grants that we are representing tonight. The amount is approximately $10,000. And our first person is Lisa West from Centerville High School East, bringing the Hispanic culture alive through cooking. Elizabeth Alawalia, Jennifer Hess, Carrie Hinders, and Nick Snyder from Tower Heights. Social Studies, Economics. From Watts Middle School, Nicole Mick for Cupcake Wars. Also from Watts Middle School, Melissa Hoffheimer and Dagmar Tingle, European Food Experience. From Primary Village North, Chelsea Maloney, Kristen Ashworth, Amanda Crickbaum, and Molly Dahl. And their project is Tinkering Trays, Building Thinkers and Problem Solvers. Prairie Village South, Nikki Stasenko, I know I didn't say that right. Stasienko, Move to Learn Using Movement to Increase Learning. Sorry. Lisa Voss from Primary Village South. Individual compact disc players for students for the love of learning. Primary Village South, Katie Thornton and Allie Erickson, The Inventor's Box, Creating STEM Skills in Early Learners. Primary Village South again. Amy Kogel, Katie Thornton, Monica Belcher, and Pam Steed for Play on Words. From Centerville High School by Sarah Puckett. Funding for student public art installation on the topic of post-millennials in education. From Klein Elementary, Craig Chabot, Ohio Prehistory History Walkable Timeline. Primary Village South, Melanie Tarpey, Stephanie Carrera, Rosie Demos, and Suzanne Crump. Sounds like fun in first grade. Klein Elementary School, Matthew Sozda, designing comics with Legos. I love that. Thought of using Legos. Klein Elementary, Karen Swillinger and Laura Venetos, Wild About Writing, Creative Writing Center. Pollination Station by Tracy Keene at Driscoll Elementary. Who are we going to let carry the check back?
They wrote the grant. That's why I had them come today. They had to research it, write it, and they did a really good job. They are so invested in this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shayna McNamee from Driscoll Elementary, Healthy Choices and Community. Homerama, third grade team, Carrie Shade, Kelly Gartz, Amanda Lays, Katie Combs, Linda Godfrey, Jessica Brown, and Heather Price from Driscoll. Congratulations. From Centerville High School South, Teresa Replogle, Hands-on Inquiry Science Experiments. Jessica Stanley and Brenda Miller from Tower Heights, Zones of Regulation. Amy Hulsman from Dr. John Wool Elementary, Enchanted Woodland Gardens to Propel Narrative Writing. Megan LeMaster and Lisa Ernst from Centerville High School, Welcome Centerville. Writing, Readers Are Writers. From Klein Elementary, Kara Michael, Debbie Smith, Lori Ernsberger, Michelle Gouge, and Carolyn Deere. Primary Village North. The topic is Building and Beyond by Kelsey Hebler, Beth Wilkes, and Christy Mason. Growing Together by Anna Haynes and Amy Atkins from Primary Village North. And that is our 24 grants. They will each be presenting, I guess I could say, at the April Awards, Excellent Awards dinner And when you come into Yankee Trace, there's a display of all the work they've done, and they work hard to show us that too. So if any of you would be attending that, that was also a nice follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, Kate, and the Centerville Education Foundation. Like I said earlier, we're going to take a short break to let all the grant recipients follow Sarah Swan around and out by the corner, around by the unit office, so she can snap a group picture. Thank you all for being here, and you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, too.
Next on the agenda is the Board of Education report. Mr. Schwer, do you have a legislative report for us
I
this
do
evening?
not have a legislative report tonight, Mr. Hayes.
Okay, thank you. Next is the hearing of the public. The Board of Education provides this as a convenient opportunity for public comment before any official action is taken. The board president will ask if anyone would like to address the board. Speakers are requested to address the board from the podium, to state their name and address, and to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes, as the board does have pre-scheduled reports and action items on the agenda. The board will listen to all who speak, but generally not engage in discussion or dialogue at this time. Matters requiring follow-up will be directed to the superintendent. Individual board members can be contacted for a set meeting appointment, and written correspondence can be mailed to the board office. Do we have anybody from the public who would like to speak to us this evening? All right, seeing no one, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Henderson?
Thank you, Mrs. Osterhage. I'm going to invite Laura Collier, our Director of Student Services, to the podium. She's also left copies of her PowerPoint that she's going to use tonight on your table there. So, Mrs. Collier.
Good evening, everyone. Public schools are required by state and federal law to find all students ages birth through 21 who have special needs living in the community, and we're required to provide special education services to students who qualify ages 3 through 21. There are several different categories that students can qualify for special education services under. Should anyone in the community know of a child who has special needs, please contact me, Laura Collier, at 433-8841. You can see currently we have approximately 1,000 students in the district who are identified as having special needs. This slide shows you, based upon the different school locations, the number of students who are in each school who have special needs. The next slide, you can see the number of students in the district by their disability category. So you can see that Centerville City Schools has very few students who are identified under categories such as traumatic brain injury, visual impairment, or orthopedic impairment. But when you get to categories such as specific learning disability, other health impairment, or autism, our numbers grow. It's important to note that Centerville City Schools also hires and employs staff that are in our 3 private schools in the district. So at Incarnation right now, we have approximately 61 students identified as having special needs, with 42 of those under the category of speech and language. At Miami Valley, we have 12 students with special needs, and at Spring Valley, there are 15, with 2 being under that category of speech and language. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Mr. Biederman?
Good evening. I have 3 brief financial slides this evening for the month ending December 31, 2016. The first slide speaks to revenue, and the second and third slide cover the expenses. The fourth slide will cover mid-year budget adjustments. And the last slide, I will share some information about the recently finished audit of our financial reporting, compliance, and other matters required by the government and auditing standards. Revenue estimates are on target at this time, but there is still over half of the yearly collection yet to be received for the real estate tax. because our second collection is historically higher. Advances on the second semi-annual collection begin the last week in January. It's actually right now. And will continue through April and May. Until then, it's not known if the category will meet the 1% increase being projected. A 1% increase represents an additional $670,889 to the district. But again, collections will not be finalized until just before the end of the fiscal year. New construction in the community is the main reason for the expected increase in the real estate revenue this year. Expense estimates are on target at this time, but the salaries and benefits categories are tracking very close to the estimates. These two categories make up 90.2% of the general fund budget. Increased medical enrollments will begin with calendar year 2017. Benefits is a large category to watch that includes many different types of expenses. Board share of state teachers' retirement, school employees' retirement, Medicare, FICA, unemployment compensation, workers' compensation, life insurance, and dental and medical insurance all make up this benefits category. This chart makes it a little easier to see how the salaries and benefits categories make up the majority of the budget, but also show how closely these two categories are tracking to the actual budget at 49.3% and 48.7% respectively at the halfway point in the fiscal year. It is also important to mention again that additional medical insurance enrollments begin in January, which will make this category even closer to the original budget estimate at fiscal year end. We are at the halfway point again in the fiscal year at this time, and this is when I look at the funds to determine if adjustments should be made to the expense budget. This year's mid-year adjustments total will decrease the overall budget $130,973. There are no changes to the general fund, which makes up 74% of the overall expense budget. As you can see from the listing on the slide, there are some fairly minor increased budget adjustments to the activity type funds. For private schools must run through our district as well, and those have been reduced. Plus there's a minor overall drop to the federal original projections because grant revenue has also decreased. These adjustments are only modifications to the budget. None of these fund categories have been overspent, and these modifications will allow us to make expenditures that will keep us under the cash balances at year end. This was also discussed at our work session last week on Monday. This last slide, the fiscal year 2016 financial audit is complete, and we received an unmodified or clean audit again this year. The Centerville City School District is also considered a low-risk auditee. The official comprehensive annual financial report and auditor's report are now available on the district website under the treasurer section of the district, and also on the Auditor of State website. I would like to thank the Treasurer's Office staff for all of their hard work and dedication to help us receive this accomplishment. This concludes my report, unless there are any questions from the board.
Thank you, Mr. Biederman. Okay, next on the agenda are the treasurer's recommendations. Consider approving the December 2016 financial statements to include the monthly financial report, the fund activity report, the appropriations report, the general funding spending report, the general fund summary, the general fund summary comparison, POs included in statement number 7 approved by administration, then and now certified by the treasurer, and supported by board resolution totaling $160,000, $779.01. We have a second. We have a motion and a second, I'm sorry. Roll call, please, Mitch.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving amended appropriations for fiscal year 2017.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings. December 12th, 2016 regular meeting, January 5th, 2017 organizational meeting, January 17th, 2017 work session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Next is the superintendent's recommendations. The superintendent recommends accepting resignations as listed on Schedule A. The superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status, or change of contract status for the certificated persons listed on Schedule B for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment or change of employment status for the support staff persons listed on Schedule C for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment of the persons listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments. The superintendent recommends the granting of leaves of absences for the persons listed on Schedule E for the reasons on the dates.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving the following firms to provide legal services to Centerville City Schools for calendar year 2017. I'm not going to say this right. Rotzel,
That's it.
sorry, Rotzel and Andrus, Squire Patton Boggs LLP, Hoover Six and Associates LLC, Rickler and Eckler, Coolidge Wall, Wolmsley and Lombard LPA, Ohio School Boards Association, and Hunter Consulting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider adopting a resolution providing Centerville City Schools the opportunity to apply for a waiver from the Ohio Department of Education for the 2017-18 school year, as Centerville Schools will not be providing career technical education courses to students enrolled in our middle schools.
So, second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution declaring certain items of personal property obsolete and unneeded and authorizing the superintendent or his designee to sell the personal property.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving a new 4-year employment contract for treasurer Mitchell Biederman for a term beginning August 1st, 2017 and ending on July 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Consider approving contract with Senior Assistance, Inc. to provide transportation services for a student to the Montgomery County Educational Service Center West at a rate of $90 a day.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G2 and 121.22G4, I hereby move that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the purchase of property for the school district and to review collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Annie Self?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
And Mrs. Osterhage?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.